Welcome back. Okay, we've got some augmentation and patterning basically on the actual barrel of the gun that I want to look at. Now remember, this isn't going to be a massively accurate representation of the minigun in the picture. However, it'll be accurate enough that people look at it and go, huh, cool, that's a minigun. And, then you can feel good about yourself. Now, go back to this. I noticed that I've left a bit open. Really should have closed that. I'll just bridge it. There we go. Now we need to continue looking at things like makers, marks and lines, because that's what makes our weapon. I mean, to be quite honest, I remember saying this in the first minigun tutorial said, this is basically what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, something like 12 cylinders, and you've got a minigun. And anyone can put 12 cylinders together. The trick is making it look like a minigun. Okay, so over here, this is obviously our main body that I want to work on a bit here. So I'm going to go straight through here and do a chamfer. No, sorry, what am I talking about? I'm going to go straight through here and do a connect. There we go. Then I'll do a chamfer, which will make this as wide as I need it to be. Just about that wide. There you go. Now I need this to come down a bit through here. So if I go on my left side and zoom, there we are. I can now kind of pull this shape a little bit. So first I'm going to move all these over to about here. I'm just messing around with it on vert level. So these come in round about where it comes down. Now start bringing these across. Now I can't move these up and down. I can only move these this way, okay? Which is going to lead us to a few problems when it comes to thickness of the piece and so on. What I mean by that is stylistically, okay, this may look okay from this angle, but if we start moving around it, you'll see that it starts to get pretty tight in places like this. And it's not really a uniform thickness in other places. So let's go back into this and now start working on the thickness. So here I'm going to move it back a little bit more, because it's important that this part maintains a kind of more or less constant width throughout the procedure that we're doing. So we're just gradient moving it. That's better. Although if you look, not all the parts have moved properly. For some obscure reason. Let's move this back. Now, when they haven't moved like this, and we need them to, and they've kind of separated out, it's easy enough to move them all back into the same position again. The problem is, of course, that basically it's not equal on the right to the same way it is on the left. So we're going to have to do it this way. If I'd added one extra segment in to this, or rotated it a little bit, we wouldn't have this issue. However, in the amazing words of Forrest Gump, shit happens. And you better get used to it, because it will continue to happen. Even if you don't want it to. Which is why we always have incremental saves. That way if things go too bad, I can pretend I never recorded this part and get it right first time the next time. No, only joking. Okay, perspective F3, let's have a look at that. That's much better. Kind of swooping down and around the way it's supposed to. Now I can select by edge, pick this one and ring it. Control select by polygon. And it'll just select these parts. Now remember before we did a select bevel and what do you call it? We're going to do it again this time. So bevel and what do you call it? Jesus, I mean a bevel by normal. Okay, because at the minute this isn't beveled by normal. Yeah, it was an extrude by normal actually. So if we go over here, change group to local normal, as you can see, it'll do it properly. I'm just going to cancel out of it now. Go into bevel and it'll remember that we did that before, which will enable us to do like mad things like that, yeah? What we're actually going to do though is just bevel it a little bit like this, and then in, then a little piece like that, and that gives us that shape going through like so. Now at the bottom here you may have noticed that we have a shape that I can only call custard ass, because that's what it looks like. So just a couple of minor little changes here will stop it looking quite so assy. And then down here, just going to straighten this part out a little bit more. And here. Thankfully, because we're on just a single plane, it's not too much of an issue. For God's sakes, grab all the verts at the same time though, or you'll cry. A lot. Right here, I'm going to grab these parts. And remember how we just beveled and did all that thing? Do that again here. Not going to do anything down that side. Up here, where these parts are. It's too long. It's no use. So what I need to do is drag through here. Press F4 to make sure I've got them all selected. Click connect. You may notice it's gone a bit too wobbly for our liking. Just do the same trick as before. Just grab on the y-axis, flatten it. Okay, great tool there, which I learned from a guy called Zach Myers. Top chap. Don't ever think you're too experienced to learn something new, because you're not. You don't believe me? Go see Ricky Babington's stuff over at E3D and prepare to be amazed. Right, back to bevel. And this time I'm going to bring the lip in, so this is a 0 length bevel, so it comes right in like this. Then I'm going to bring it up just a teeny bit. Up again, up, out. And this creates this really nice kind of lipped effect here. Like so. Press F4 and you can see it's slightly better, like that. Always a lovely effect, that one. Now back here at the back, obviously, grab here and do another connect. Well, I can't do a connect with just one, do a loop first. Or ring or whatever it is. Connect. Bring that in. Okay, and just going to go around and select these. If it starts moving, just change your tool from select to move to move. Sorry, from select to move to select. What the hell am I saying? And that way you won't destroy your model quite as quickly. Okay, bevel. There we go. And zoom out again. Lovely. Okay, so up here, where these parts are, we're going to build some fascinating little shapes coming out of here. So what I need to do, grab there and there, and there and there, and I'll do a quick inset. Now then, before I do the inset, let's have a look. There we are. That's about as much as I need to do inset-wise on these. Although I could probably do with bringing the inset down into this part as well. There. You'll see why in a minute. Now then, These parts over here we're going to have to round out. So before I do, let's deselect these parts here and here. And what I want to do is just extrude these parts out. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to bevel them. Just so they're conforming to this shape. They're kind of going across. Like that. And then across there. Like so. Alright, now I'm going to take out these underneath polygons because these are going to be a nuisance that I'm going to need to get rid of. Same again over here. Don't worry, all this madness has a reason, I promise you. It may even be a good one, you never know. Now underneath here, I'm going to get rid of these. This is how you start to build your more complicated polygonal shapes, okay? We're not sub-D modeling, but we are making complex models. Okay, select here and here. You've got to manually select these, I'm afraid. Just the way this goes. This is a real working by eye kind of thing now. I wouldn't call it serious modelling. Okay, because all modelling is either serious or fun, depending on how you look at it. However, I would say that it's important. Okay, now with this done, we're going to go back into the chamfer tool. You've got to do this by eye. Watch all of them at the same time. And I'm just going to start rounding this shape out. Stop. Okay, now here, where this is, let's see. I want to scale it. Will it let me do it on the local, I wonder? Yeah, it will. That's great news. So I'll do that on the local. And that on the local. Okay, so as you can see, that's rounded those pieces in from that. Change this back to view mode again. Now we have 1, 1, 1, 1. This is going to need to be broken down here and here, so that's fine. And I'll explain why while I'm doing it. We need to match up the polygons on either side, as well as which will make this look smoother, so, you know, it's win-win. Okay, so a quick loop. Very small chamfer. This is why, though, we scaled our model up and made it bigger at the beginning, because otherwise these things would be flinging about like crazy, and we'd be having a hell of a job controlling our chamfers. Don't cap. We're going to manually create our bridges. So go into our bridging tool. And if it's too small, just create the ones around it and then use a cap, but we'll be fine. The reason we're doing it this way as well is because, you know, it's going to look so much nicer this way. This part here at the front isn't connected yet, so we'll come to that in a minute, because there's nothing for it to connect to. Don't be afraid to tweak polygons. If you think it's time to start tweaking, tweak. If you don't, then don't, obviously. But what we're trying to do is obviously make this shape a part of this, so it's coming out like that, yeah? Hopefully you kind of understand now where it's going and why. Nice shape, actually. Okay, drop back into here, and I'm going to have to flatten these out. Make sure bridging tool's off. And I've got it in screen rather than view, so let's change that. Pull these back just a teeny bit, because I need these open polygons that you're seeing just here, so that I can cap them. One, and now this one's not being bridged, so I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So I'll just cap that one. And over here, oops. Now don't ever be tempted just to throw a cap in this big space here, okay? You're just going to ruin your model if you do. Just take your time. Remember, if you're starting to get frustrated at any point, it's time to turn the kettle on. I don't advocate smoking, but if you do, it's time to go and light yourself up a smoke, go outside, have a coffee. If you don't smoke and you're one of those healthy people, then go outside. I don't know, horror hooker, whatever it is you do, relax. Not that I'm advocating that sort of thing, obviously. Just don't invite them into your workstation room because, you know, they might steal your workstation. Right, there we go. Now down here. That's the great thing about free tutorials. See, in the commercial tutorials, I can't swear. I can't say the word bollocks or boobies or anything. But in the free ones, they're free. You just have to be proper grateful and I can say what I like. Hooray! Okay, now here, I'm going to have a couple of cylinders come out that'll just contain these kind of little cap ring things. So, again, cylinder, using auto grid. 23 sides, no wonder I thought I made it 22. Good God. Swear to God. You probably noticed that ages ago and you didn't say anything, did you? Yeah, you rascals. You just wanted me to look silly. Okay, bring that out to there. Convert to edible poly. I'm not going to give it a name because in a minute it will be part of this model. I flattened both these out on the same axis, so I should in theory be able to just drag it over to here. Make it an instance. Actually, there's no point in making them blooming instances at all. I can work on them both at the same time anyway, and shall once they're in the right position. Okay, now I'm going to take this one, which hasn't got a name and never will anymore. Attach the wrong part. It's because this is an instance. See? Darned things. Just create it as a normal bloody copy and be done with it. Because otherwise you have what's known as a closed dependency loop on the instance and the reference object. Oh, I've got such an itchy nose. Bet you didn't want to know that. But I'm scratching it, and it's great. There. Right, now these two have been sorted out. I'm going to select both their front polygons and grow them. Control I, gets rid of the back-facing polygon there. And this will allow me now to do a little bit more beveling with both of them simultaneously. Just making a slight curve to this shape here. And then at the end of this, I would make a little loopy thing that will pull it out eventually. First things first, my dears. I'm going to attach these two pieces to this. Delete these two lovely polygons here and here. Now what you can actually do is just select this and this, my two borders, and just cap, and it'll try and work out an amicable agreement between them. And then I can just cut, if I need to, edges like that. To be honest though, the best thing to do, and the very best, if you're just going to do it this lazy way, which PS I totally am, is to select here and here, do a bridge, select here, and then cap. Then at least you get more control over it. Oh yeah, and with this done, I can now do a little bit of chamfering, which is nice. Now you may notice that the chamfer breaks here a little bit. We can fix that. Just going to zoom in on this part. Now then, these little verts here, if I just collapse them down, there we go. See? Easy as a cake. And that was quite an easy cake too. Same again here. Another bridge. And then a quick cap. Select by edge. I really fancy a coffee at the moment. Okay, quick chamfer, just a little one. There we go. And that's all it takes really, just to make that area a bit smoother there. Okay, I mean obviously these are like chunkier than a chunky Kit Kat, but you know, looking nice. And that's how you create a nice looking weapon, Squire. Okay, we're going to come back to this again in a bit. What I need to do now is click stop and see you in the next part.